Hi Kim or Kyle, whoever's watching this. We've got the transmission out of your 93 Ranger. This is what it looks like when it's all apart. I'll go over some things with you, and Eric will contact you with the cost estimates. Start with the pan. You can see when we took the pan off, you can see there's a whole bunch of brass here and all throughout here. These are piles of little pieces of metal there, and our magnet here is attracting metal particles, and you can just see the sheer volume of metal that is sitting on top of there. That's also throughout the transmission as well, so there's no question that that's way too much metal to be collected there. That's why we recommended that the transmission be removed from the vehicle for further inspection. So once we got the transmission apart, the leak out the front, which is what Kyle noticed, this is the front seal here in the bell housing, and that area there on the seal, that's a gray material, and the seal itself is worn, so the leak out the front is going to be caused by the seal itself. That has created a situation where the forward clutch is slipped. And these are the forward clutch blades here. So they're burnt. And they should actually look more like that disc right there. You can see it's a uniform brown color. You can see the waffling on there. And if you look at this side of the disc, it's blackened and there's no waffling. So this side of the disc here has been worn away, and that'll happen when the clutch has been slipping. So here you can see little chunks of material missing here, and that's from the slippage. So that clutch was going to fail down the road, and that's probably related to the leak out the front. This is the high reverse clutch, and it has some slippage as well. You can see the leopard spotting on the plate. So right there is some leopard spotting right here, and that's from things getting too hot. So the disc itself, same thing as before. You should see a nice uniform brown color there, and you can see some blackening along here and on this disc as well. This disc here, there's blackening there as well. So we know that that clutch has been slipping. The servo pistons, this is one of the servo pistons. This is supposed to be rubber, and these are hard as rock. This piece is going to slide into the case like that and apply the band. So this has to be a good soft surface, because the oil has to come in behind here to push the band on properly. So that'll have to be addressed as well. As far as places where the metal came from, we've got this scooped washer here. It's worn through the brass of the washer. Both of these washers should look the same. You can see the surface here. It may be hard to pick up on the camera, but this surface right here looks pretty normal, but this surface here, it's worn through the brass into the babbitt, and the reason for that is going to be this washer at the back of the case here. So way down in there, and again the camera may not pick it up well, but down in this area here you're going to have, I'm going to try it without a light here. So down in this area here is where the washer sits, or around there. So all around there is where the washer is sitting, and that's all rough. We also have in our overdrive planetary this, the bearing that's down inside here, this captured bearing, this race is worn away. There's a lip here that's not supposed to be there, so it's worn through the hardening, and what's happening is the rollers have worn out this race. Well, that bearing down in there is bad. On our front ring gear hub, this piece is broken off of there. That's supposed to be attached to there, so there's been enough force for this to break. This piece here is broken here, and we're going to have some damage down in there as a result of that. So that's going to be a good portion of where the metal was coming from as well. That material should have got caught in the filter of the transmission, but when we flushed out the cooling system, we found pieces like this, and there's some fairly large chunks of metal like that, and that is in all likelihood coming from the torque converter. So usually when there's a failure inside the transmission, like these gears and things like that, it'll settle into the pan, and the pan will be loaded, but when we flush out the cooling system, it won't show up in the cooling system. So typically when we find material in the cooling system, and the machine that we use heats everything up to 180 degrees, which is very close to operating temperature, and that gets this stuff to come out. So it's really important when you have a failure to get rid of that material. And this is only some of the material that we flushed out, but gives a good idea that the cooling system had a bunch of metal lodged inside of it. So again, the recap is going to be this bearing in the planetary is bad. You got broken pieces here. This washer is really rough, and inside the case, that washer has to be addressed. These frictions are burnt. This forward clutch is burnt quite bad. Our servo pistons are hard, and those are going to have to be addressed, whether it's a repair or a recondition. The recondition, we would also be changing both of these bands, and it's not that the lining is bad, but when we recondition a transmission, we replace all the friction elements, so the torque converter has a friction disc inside of it as well. So that would be changed. This overrun clutch would be changed. The low reverse band here would also be changed, and the other band here would also be changed. In addition to that, we would remove this race down the back of the case. Then we have that machined, and then we're able to put a bearing where this washer used to go. So it totally eliminates the grindings issue that would come from this scooped washer contacting that other one. So as I said, Eric will contact you with cost estimates, and we shall go from there. Thanks.